them the business. And this morning, as we get you up and get you going, we'll cover a lot of that. Talk a little bit about what's going on down here in Darlington, where Jen Jensen has bravely led us up into the press box, has got everything set up, and much like a young child on Christmas morning, thrilled to see what Santa has brought, she will now eagerly await the sun to rise over Darlington Raceway.
You kind of want to do something to like wake everybody up. You know, because a bunch of the campers are already in the field. It just kind of makes me just kind of like get a bullhorn or something, or hey, we're up and running.
We're here.
We're here. Are you listening?
There she is, everybody. Jen Jensen making her presence known in Darlington this morning, ready to wake all these nice sleeping RVs and campers up as they get ready for a weekend of partying.
The haulers are going to be coming in a little bit, so we got to be excited about that.
Always a good time. I do appreciate. I have come to appreciate the haulers when they come in.
And
the line, the precisions, how they're. This is really cool.
And correct me if I'm wrong. I know I should know this, but we've got a lot going on. Correct me if I'm wrong, though. This is it. This is the final weekend before the playoffs get going next weekend. Correct, Jen?
You are correct. This is the last opportunity to get into the playoffs, and a lot of pressure. A
lot of pressure. So we'll get you up, though. We'll get you up and get you going here live from Darlington. We got a lot to get into this morning as we start the process here. DC weighs in on our live stream where you can go to the Game TV. It says one more day. It's finally here. We got lots of college football to talk about. We got some NASCAR. Jen has got us some phenomenal interviews this morning that she didn't even let us talk. She kicked us out. It's her and William Byron. We're going to let you listen to them coming up next. We've got Joey Logano set to join us later on in the program. And, of course, our good buddy Josh Harris, who is running the whole shebang down here, the president of Darlington Raceway, who so politely invites us into his facility and allows us to come up here and take over for a few hours this morning. Then we'll turn it over to Tyler Head starting at 9 a.m. As we get ready for, again, Preston, a fun weekend that started last night. But first, I want to start with this that popped up on my Twitter account yesterday and mentioned it briefly. The Tommy Suggs 2001, is it the way or the entrance? I have to go back and look. The entrance. Preston, I put this on Twitter yesterday. You played in a hole. 20 years ago, you played in a dump.
Jen, our resident realtor, would tell you that it was a fixer-upper that just needed a little bit of TLC.
Had great bones.
The bones.
That's what we're going to refer to it as. Just needed a little bit of paint and a little bit of, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and we got it going.
The fairgrounds were still there, I believe. I don't think Gamecock Park had been built just yet. I don't even know if there was a Gamecock walk for you. You were having to cross a busy main street, Bluff Road, to get over to your practice field. They were so angry. They thought you had too many accommodations. They took your cookies away, I believe, at some point, your brownies. I don't know if the locker room was not the same. There was no paint in the stadium. I'm looking at, if you haven't seen it, Gamecock Athletics yesterday put out what is really, really cool. It's called the Tommy Suggs 2001 Gamecock football entrance. It's even got a nice little, what do you want to call that? An iron entrance railing that the players will run through coming out of the tunnel there. I saw the pictures and I'm like, man, poor Preston. Did you guys even have running water in that facility when you were there?
Barely. You don't. Sometimes you don't know you're poor until you see everything else. You think it was great, then you see all the other things around you. You say, wow. But yes, you get a chance to. That's why we like the characteristic. That's why we've grown and we built this thing. We added a new thing here. We made some improvements. This is our thing. It's great to see.
It is special. You got it going. Well, apparently in this instance, Tommy Suggs got it going in 1981 is what I saw as well.
Which, again, time is a moving target, because when it said 41 years old, I was like, wow, we've been doing 2001 a long time ago. Then it said 1981. I was like, oh, yeah. Got to reckon with this time thing. And I guess that was a long time ago. Yes, sir, you are a relic.
Also for the record, we're 42, and if it was 41, I was born in '82, so at 41 it might be a little bit more than that. But really cool thing that they've done. And another thing, look, I have tried to bang the drum for Ray Tanner for when Chance Miller was here for the administration. I mean, you guys definitely didn't run out the fire around you, did you?
I don't believe that type of power only existed for hair bands. I believe. I don't think it was for football teams.
Sure, they did not have it for.
Maybe Motley Crue and
they-
Poison might have had that, but we didn't have that for football.
They did not have it for Hootie and the rest of the Blowfish last night. No fire over there at the CLA. So that was really cool and brings us to another thing tomorrow. We've always done it. You've done it in the past. You got a vibe check to get us going this morning. A vibe check for Old Dominion.
Yeah, we're gonna. I just want to know what do we want to see after the end. By the end, obviously we want to win, right? So taking that aside, what's gonna make you the happiest? Is it gonna be 100 yards from Rocket Sanders? Is it gonna be 0 turnovers from Norris? Donuts, as Debo would say.
Ooh.
What is the thing that's gonna make you walk out of the stadium or after the game tomorrow and you feel like? Because we're gonna say win aside. Obviously, we know
Right.
it's a win. We're gonna because we've moved our expectations for this team. So we're gonna put this W on the board. But what's gonna make you even more happier on top of the W? So that's what I want to know. I'm curious to find out what we thinking out there.
It was all right. I now I'm open to change. I'm open to change as we go through the next 3 hours. I'm going to start with this. It's just very simple. Aside from win, team rushing effort of 200 yards.
Okay.
Team rushing effort of 200 yards is kind of what I want. And it doesn't have to be individually. It can be 50 yards from Lenore Sellers. It can be 50 yards from Robbie Ashford. It can be 50 yards from Rocket Sanders. And it can be a combination of 50 yards from Oscar Attaway, the third from Jawan Howe, from DJ Braswell. Shoot, let Luke Doty get in there and carry it on some kind of sweep, or Nick Harbour run him on a reverse sweep and use that speed.
Bill, you said a lot of names, but you didn't say RB2.
Oh yeah, Juju McDowell.
He's RB.
Good point.
He's RB2. How could you skip over him?
Take that, Coach Beamer. We're not going to have you gaslighting us on who RB2 is. We saw the depth chart. We did an in-depth dive. We discussed it a good bit on Tuesday. So good point. Excellent point there. As
So
it pertains,
that would make you happy.
that's going to make that. It's going to. I don't. It will tell me that there is hope that this offensive line. They had 200. I want to say 251 yards against Eastern Illinois in Shane Beamer's opener. It did take a long run from Zaquandre White late in that game to get to 251 yards. And it should also be noted in that game that it was a bad Eastern Illinois team.
Yes.
That was not a good
one
Eastern.
One of the worst teams, and they proved
They were not one of the worst teams in FCS, not even in FBS.
Correct.
North Dakota State last night was number 2 in the FCS and took Colorado down to the wire. Not the same for Eastern Illinois in 2000 or 2021 when old Zeb Nolan, wearing the managerial pants, had to put down the playbook for a minute, come into the game, and save the Gamecocks.
Yeah, that was not a good team, but obviously this Old Dominion team is a lot better than that. But as I said, I've raised the expectations. We're gonna assure a win. What do we want on top of that?
And by the way, if you're just wondering, Illinois last night 45, Justin Stepp in Illinois 45, Eastern Illinois 0.
So it's still.
Go out, move some people around, have the offensive line. It's not going to give me like this great hope that South Carolina is going to be dominant on the offensive line, but at least you will have done it against an FBS team in the opener, showing that you can run the football.
That's solid. That's a fair expectation for this team against a team that they should handle pretty clearly. So I'm just curious as to what people are thinking and what they're looking forward to for this week.
So send that in 803-404-6100 as we are again live from Darlington this morning.
We're trying to raise our expectations up. We know we're gonna count this W. We should win this. If we can't count on this W, then we might as well cancel the rest of the season. What do we want on top of the W?
And I'll be honest, by the way, let me just say this. Covering the spread to me is kind of irrelevant because things can happen in this game where maybe the spread does not exactly get covered. So 21-point spread, it can be a lot. But what I am, again, that's my thing. I'm just looking back real quick, Preston, to go back to South Carolina's rushing yards against Georgia State. Against Georgia State, South Carolina had 32 rushes for 79 yards. again, that's not what you want in a run game. Last year against North Carolina, well, we know that they didn't even top 10 rushing yards. So year 4 against an FBS opponent, you come out the gate, you get the 200-yard rushing yards. I will be content with that. So send those in. 803-404-6100 is how you can weigh in. Text message comes in right off the bat. Fundamental football. Run the football, stop the run.
Okay, I'll take it.
Also, the co-pilot weighs in and said, "What conference came first, the SEC or the ACC?" And then says Gamecocks 38-17. So there you go. So we'll get into all that. But coming up next, we'll be joined by William Byron. Jen, you want to set it up real quick?
I guess I can throw my head.
Yeah, come on in, join the
It was a
program.
good- yeah, exactly. Sorry, stop a little bit. Yeah, it was a good conversation with them. I just talked about a little bit of his Legos. That's kind of a fun off-season thing. I learned about, I don't know, crazy.
All right. We'll let you hear that. William Byron joins us next on the early game when we return live from Darlington. All right. Sounds good. Okay.
Preston here. Let me tell you about my friends at Absolute Glass, the premier glass company of the Midlands, offering auto, home, and business glass repair. So if your glass is damaged, shattered, cracked, or broken, they can handle the job. They'll come out to you and give you a free quote for any job. Yes, they will come out to wherever you are. Are you at school? Are you at home? Are you at work? Are you tailgating? Wherever you are, Absolute Glass will come out there and take care of it for you. And then when they come out there, they'll give you a free quote. And when they do the job, they'll take away the headache. So if it's a cracked windshield, that's no problem. Remember, your insurance is there for that, and they'll take away the headache. If you're looking to increase the value of your home with new windows or mirrors, Absolute Glass will come out and take care of that for you too. Windows, mirrors, shower enclosures. Say it all the time. If you can see through it, Ray and Marianne at Absolute Glass can do it. So check them out online at absoluteglassinc.com. It's online at absoluteglassinc.com.
All right. Well, we got it set up. Maybe this is the way to start doing it because I can like monitor stuff. Sorry, guys. I'm going to mute you for a second. Up and at 'em, kids. 6:20 on your Friday morning for us. This is it. The final Friday of August, final work day for us of August. How about that? We'll be into the month of September. 3-day weekend for most of you. Congratulations. Not so much for us, however. We'll be in on Monday morning to break it all down and also review what has occurred here in Darlington. And we are excited now. This took place this week where Jen Jensen, we just turned her loose. We just sent her. We just turned her loose on William Byron. We didn't know if he would be ready for track. Track Too Tough to Tame was never ready for Jen Jensen. Here is William Byron earlier this week joining Jen and talking a little bit about some NASCAR racing. So they didn't hear anything on the live stream because it's not.
And when we talk about the season, we were talking about the season and the new season for 2025 as far as the calendar is concerned. That just came out yesterday about 1:00. So that'll be something we can talk about in time to come because we're going to be going to Mexico this year. Darlington, instead of being the last in the playoffs, are going to be back to being the first in the playoffs. There's Talladega's moving into like the round of 8 instead of the round of 12. Daytona is going to be the end of the regular season. So they've put together pretty good season for 2025. A lot of shakeups. They're even going back to the Rock. Now Cup Series isn't, but Xfinity and the Truck Series. They're also going back to Rockingham, which is pretty exciting.
That'd be actually driven past Rockingham a good bit, going up to Pinehurst,
Going through Raleigh, right?
Going to Raleigh, going
yeah.
to Raleigh when I go see my sister up there. So that's really cool. Rockingham reminds me a lot, and this is me. So if I'm completely wrong, just be like, hey, moron, no. But just the way it is, I say, kind of a rural area like this, reminds me a lot of Darlington here with the way it's set up. So really cool. 803. 803-404-6100 is how you can weigh in. I'll get back to some of these text messages. What do you want to see tomorrow? What do you want to see? And some of it centers around the offensive line, Preston Thorne. How do they do? Well, here's some clips from last night's Carolina calls where Shane Beamer took calls.
There you go.
He took calls.
That's my coach.
Not afraid of his fan base.
My
Like
coach takes
certain coaches in this state are terrified of their fan base. We'll let you hear a little bit of Shane Beamer from last night as we roll along. You're listening to Jen Jensen, Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner live from Darlington Raceway. It is the early game. Bill Gunner for the mortgage guru, Jacob Crowder with First Palmetto Bank. Right now, if you are in the market for a brand new home and you live in Richland County, let me tell you what, you need to be calling Jacob Crowder today. 803-719-1005. You can check out the community reinvestment product. Now, you need more information on this, and Jacob's the guy to go to. But if you live in Richland County, Blythewood, Northeast, Southeast, or the I-20 corridor, they are offering right now a 4.99% interest with a 5.075 APR on a 30-year fixed mortgage. That's right. This is the kind of thing that you got to take advantage of when it comes around. So again, contact the mortgage guru and Jacob Crowder today, 803-719-1005. You can also email him, the letter J, Crowder, CROWDER at firstpalmetto.com. Give him a phone call today. Tell the mortgage guru Bill Gunner sent you. All right. Now what I wonder, as we are learning, I wonder if y'all are hearing everything through the microphone here or if it's going back through the station. Because we don't have a cord plugged into the station. So I'm wondering if y'all are.
And that would be good to know because if so, they can't.
Like right now, I know they're hearing us, which on the station because that feed cuts out. So I'm allowing you to hear us right now. You're getting a behind the scenes tour of but we're back on a different platform, if you will. So we're learning this morning.
But I'm wondering if they're hearing everything else, or if I need to have Dave plug that in. Because I'm wondering how is the YouTube channel set up where they're hearing it otherwise? You know, what is
I bet it's not plugged in. I bet they're hearing it through. Yeah, like Travis said. Travis said, it's like the old school stream again. Yeah.
When we play the clips, they won't be able to hear it.
Yeah, Dave would need to go in there, and if that cord is there,
It is.
but also
He's gotta log in.
also the way he would have to log in, and he could just log into Terry's. No, he'd probably have to log in to ours. I mean, I would probably tell him to log into ours into our. You're going to have him log into StreamYard, right?
I would think he has to log into, the same StreamYard that we're logged into.
Yeah.
And then he just has to add.
And then all you would have to do is plug in the cord. Because remember, and then we just had. I think we just had the little 107.5 the game.
The logo.
That was and pulsating, and you could see that it was. But that also allowed him to hear the commercials. I think.
Yeah, because whatever is going through the feed, because that's all it's doing is taking the headphone amp
Right.
to the computer. But yeah, I had to do that yesterday because we didn't have it for the golf tournament last week because where'd the cord go? Well, I don't know anything about that.
So if they got the cord in there, if you plugged it in, just logged in. He just needs to log back into our StreamYard. All right, look at us. We're smart and making things happen.
Okay, are you gonna be asking for some cuts in this segment? Okay. So maybe we'll have him do that like in the, because if I'm gonna give him instructions on how to do the live stream, I don't want him to be in there trying to log in if we're trying to ask for some cuts.
I just can't hear the cuts right now, or they can't like right now. Yes, it is. There's actual live stream on YouTube. They're only hearing us. So that's what they're catching on the live stream. And of course, there's a delay. Up and at 'em. Let's go. College football season is officially upon us. We got the good appetizer last night. The spring rolls. We got the what else did we say?
You had the pot stickers. You had
I'll admit, lately I've gotten into the squid salad.
Whatever you want. But I'm here to tell you, it was a lot. It was one of those deals where they're like, "What do you want for your entrees?" I don't know. I think I might have ordered too many appetizers. It might have ruined my meal.
Might have ruined your meal. Had a big night last night across College Falls. We really got going last night, and today you get kind of the little palate cleansing. You get a little bit of a palate cleansing on a Friday night before everything gets going.
I'm gonna take a break.
No football tonight? Oh goodness.
Well, besides listening to the scores coming in for high school football.
That's a good point. I think I'm gonna take a break. Tonight, Temple and Oklahoma is the ESPN 7 o'clock game. You also get a TCU Stanford 10:30 game if you're into that kind of thing. Florida Atlantic will kick off Michigan State's Jonathan Smith era. Smith coming over from Oregon State, taking over for that guy Mel Tucker, who made a whole lot of money. I think he ended up getting most of his money out of that, or maybe they got out of him for proper improper conduct, I guess is what I was going for there.
Being an idiot.
Yeah.
Get you fired. Always remember that, please.
Elon and Duke in Western Michigan at Wisconsin tonight. Speaking of Elon, I believe I got this correct. One-time former coach at Elon, Pete Limbaugh. Excited to see what he can do. He gets himself Missouri. He gets to try and one up Jody Wright next week. But last night, Buffalo, the Pete Limbo era underway at home. They knock off Lafayette 30-13.
Yeah, it was one of the first touchdowns I saw scored and with all the flurry of highlights and activity. So I did see them jump up on them pretty early.
803-404-6100 is how you can weigh in. So I disagree with this, Chris. I believe this is Chris. I believe this is one of our Miami or Florida State fans. Our Miami fan, I believe. I don't agree with what he says. He says this is a fool's gold game for South Carolina. Good programs dominate and impose their will against far lesser opponents because they're supposed to. If not, South Carolina isn't making any progress under Shane Beamer. I don't agree with that. But I do think you have to balance what you see tomorrow with also what is realistic, if that makes sense. Like if South Carolina comes out and wins 45-0 tomorrow and runs for 400 yards, I don't think you go back to your tailgate, look at your phone, and start planning college football playoff dates and booking your trip to the college football national championship game. But I do think you take that away and go, hey, that's an improvement over anything I've seen the previous 3 years, especially Preston in 2021 and 2022 when South Carolina really against inferior opponents that they should have pushed around did not.
That is exactly it. So yeah, I don't think it's going to be a case where anybody is going to be fool's gold and people are going to be booking their tickets to the playoffs. But you just said against Eastern Illinois, we had 32 carries for 70-something yards.
That was Georgia State.
Sorry, my fault. Against another team that we should have pushed around. So we haven't been able to do that in these past couple of years. So if that was the case and we were able to see that happening, it would be signs of encouragement for this team. Also, you remember last year against North Carolina, proved to be average on defense. We gave up 9 sacks. So there are some things that, win aside, we could take away from this game and really have a good feeling towards the rest of the year.
For the record, by the way,
But I don't think it's a fool's goal.
For the record, last year 31 rush attempts,
Say that one more time, please, sir.
negative.
Well, people will say that because in college football the rushing yards are taken away from the sacks. That might be Lonnie Teasley's agent saying that. He's like, hey, but look at the sack yards.
Cool. DeCarrion Joyner had 12 carries for 23 yards last year. Juju McDowell had 5 carries for -1 yard. Spencer Rattler, those 9 sacks, 13 carries for -22.
See, I told you.
So yeah. Fine. Eliminate Spencer Rattler if that's the case.
South Carolina 25 yards rushing, sir.
No. And then if you eliminate Spencer Rattler, it was 18 carries for 20 yards. You get my point.
Almost a yard.
That's true. That's true. You're getting closer to a first down with every carry. You just need 10 downs to get there. Look, that's where I go with for tomorrow. I'm not gonna again. If South Carolina comes out and runs, I said 200 yards. If South Carolina comes out and runs for 200 yards, I'm not going to come on the radio next week and be like, look out, Kentucky. Here comes the ground and pound. But it's something that you haven't seen them do. And kind of to Chris's point, it's something that they should do, especially with 3 interior guys that have played a whole lot of college football.
That is the part I do agree with. Is that this team should be able to go out there, out-talent them, impose their will. Obviously, ODU's a well-coached team. They have players. They're not going to lay down. So I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but at some point they should impose their will on them.
And you got to go out and do it. I want to see them do it early. I want to see them kind of grind the life out of Old Dominion early. Come out, give me one of those solid drives early on 10, 11, 12 plays where it's maybe 10 runs and 2 passes.
I get it.
I really – there's plenty of time to showcase what Lenora Sellers can do as a passer. And when I say plenty of time, hopefully there's at least 3 more seasons of it, all right? Hopefully there's 3 more seasons. I want to see this team create an identity tomorrow when they come out and run the ball. I want to say I was watching that Notre Dame Lou Holtz documentary the other night. And I want to say, if someone's seen it, correct me if I'm wrong. It wasn't Holtz, but I want to say it was Ara Parseghian who built his team around in the start of the second half. The first drive would be all runs up the gut, and he wanted to break the other team by just running it right down their throat because at that point in time, in the 70s or whatever it was for Parseghian, they were the better team and dominant. This is a situation where I kind of want to see the same. Go Rocket Sanders. Go Oscar Attaway Jr. Guys that can handle the middle of the line, not some Juju McDowell. Go with your big physical backs and just go downhill on them.
That would be an improvement from what we've seen in years past, especially in early seasons. Kind of the knock on Shane Beamer's teams is that they play well early, they finish seasons well, but they don't necessarily start the seasons as strong as the physical. So that would be something that we would be looking to see. So if that's something that would make you happy coming out of the game, I could get with that.
Just for the record, by the way, I'm doing the math on this. South Carolina against Eastern Illinois in that first one had 254 yards rushing. All right, 254 yards rushing. Two carries accounted for 78 yards, which left them with really 45 carries for 176 yards. You see my point on that? Like they tried to run the football against Eastern Illinois 3 years ago. Zaquandre White had 12 carries and a 63-yarder. Marshawn Lloyd had 14 for 55. Juju McDowell had 12 for 42. Some dude named Jaheim Bell had 2 for 16.
What were we doing with that?
And you get and that's what I'm saying. Like I'm with a lot of people. I'm not.
Sorry to bring up those thoughts.
Yeah, I'm not trying to break anything down, or break anybody down. But yeah, I'd like to see. And I'm kind of with Ford on this. Ford says I'd like to see a visible reflection of the new strength and conditioning philosophy, i.e., no cramps, hands on hips, exhaustion-related mistakes or injuries. Ford in Charleston.
Speaking of cramps, we had our first fake cramp of the year yesterday. Shedeur Sanders pulled a fake cramp as they were trying to get off the field, and there was a little bit of confusion. The savvy veteran laid on the ground. He even asked for water. He was cramping. He was holding his leg. He was holding his calf. And if you've ever had a cramp, you know that once you get a cramp, it's a wrap. He got the cramp, somehow magically got off the field, and was smiling on the sideline.
Oh, of course.
So we've had our first fake injury of the year in Shedeur Sanders. Congratulations, sir.
As a mild athlete / non-athlete, worst cramp when you're laying in bed. If you're in bed,
not fun.
803-404-6100. We'll come back. We'll wrap up hour number 1. Bill Gunner, Preston Thorne, Jen Jensen, live from Darlington Raceway. No. Okay. All right.
I mean, they both tend to put them in.
We're already done.
Yeah, we got to do the first hour. We're good. I feel like I'm handling the mics, got that going. Apparently, I did not put enough coffee grounds in the coffee to make a stronger coffee. I feel like I'm drinking more hot water with French vanilla creamer right now. I hadn't had creamer in forever. I just decided that was the direction I wanted to go. This is going to be okay to say in risk of it going out on air, right? Well, what is that? Of coffee? Yeah, I'm heavy-handed with the coffee. I will say that. I don't know what I was doing last night. Clearly went more water than coffee grounds. Jen, we've got a request from Courtney Levitt. Next time you get up and walk behind us, it's requested you do a cartwheel.
Okay.
There you go, Courtney. I don't know. Let's see.
I don't know that I could do that.
Let me go back. Courtney, I want to see if your comment pops up on our. It doesn't. So only the YouTube comments pop up on the YouTube stream. So if you're commenting, but at least now, the way we're going to probably start doing this, if we can figure it out, I can read at least the CW weighing in on the Facebook page, because we sent this to the 107.5 The Game Facebook page as we used to.
Mm-hmm.
There was a problem with the Twitter because it said we don't have a premium Twitter account. We had to upgrade. We learn.
And we're cheap.
That was a lot of cracking of my wrist and fingers. What was I had seen? I did not see the schedule that you mentioned yesterday, but they had put out like a leaked one about a week ago, and it had Darlington move. That had the spring race way off from
It's April 4th and 5th.
yeah.
It's the week before. Yeah, I think I sent that to Josh yesterday, and I said, so just FYI for the golf tournament, can't be the first weekend in April. Or it can be, and we just won't be there.
I have no problem. That's also Final Four weekend. Should be Final Four weekend. Should be Final Four weekend. It should be. I don't think they've released the PGA schedule for next year.
Yeah, it's great. It's not going to be on Mother's Day weekend anymore, so that's cool.
Actually, I might just lead with this and just not mention anybody's name. Getting you up, let's do that with my mic turned up. Getting you up, getting you ready here as the sun. This is beautiful. We've been, Jen and I have been doing this for 8 years. Preston's joined us now. You're heading into, this is year 2. Season 2. We have doing the morning show. This is the one, it's offset occasionally by the fact that we get up at like 5 a.m. or 4:30 or 4 o'clock. But we have seen some really cool sunrises in our time. And I will say this. I've seen the sunrise over Williams-Brice Stadium. I've seen it rise over Founders Park. I've seen it from several other venues as well, several golf courses. I will say this. There is a peace and tranquility, kind of, unless Jen Jensen is around, when you're watching the sunrise over Darlington because of people out there that are maybe they got in last night, they've partied a little bit too much and they're trying to sleep, and then Jen Jensen wants to take an air horn and just go up and down the rows, waking everybody up and informing them it's Friday and that it's time to get up. But the sun is rising here in Darlington as we sit on turn 3. We look down. We got the Goodyear. What do we want to call that? Painting for the corner here.
Yeah, got the logos on the track, Goodyear and Cookout.
Goodyear, of course, one of the answers yesterday to your trivia questions.
We do have one more. We have a favorite ticket actually that's 7,500 that we'll give away here in a little bit, and we do have one more trivia question to do that.
Okay, so we will get into that a little bit and talk about that. But we'll continue to get you ready. Still got Joey Logano set to join us, Josh Harris, the president of Darlington Raceway, who has been so kind as to invite us into the Turn 3 press box.
Was it really invited when we just kind of do it?
Yeah, they're tired of us actually because the first year we were met by people and they let us in and they got us all set up. Hey, sure, we just showed up at the gate. They were like, all right, go on in.
Yeah, Josh looked at Kerry's old calendar. Like, we have to do everything that he did.
Yeah,
all of them.
I want to put the stamp. I want to put my stamp on it. So we're hoping that through year 1 we haven't offended anybody.
Yeah, literally, when I came yesterday to set up the equipment both here and at the media center for Tyler, I just said when I'd be there, and they're like, okay, cool. I never saw anybody until I got to the media center. So like, apparently it's okay if I just
it's like, you come to somebody's house like, man, go in the fridge. It's yours, whatever.
Yeah, we got.
You don't have to ask you.
We are considered essential according to our media pass. Essential display at all times. Does not tell me if I'm allowed to drive a race car or not, but it says essential. So that tells me that we are working our way up here through our time here at Darlington. And again, always thankful. Always thankful. We probably should have reached out to Kerry Tharp, just seen what was going on. We haven't talked to old Kerry in a long time.
Yeah.
And we might have to just check in with him from time to time here during football season.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, our question to you this morning has been, what do you want to see what do you want to see tomorrow that besides a win? Please play along with us. Be a part of the show. We know you want to see a win, but what do you want to see that makes you happy? I said 200 rushing yards. And the reason I said that again is because South Carolina in the 3 previous years, one of those being against a Power 5 opponent in North Carolina, now a Power 4 opponent in North Carolina, but has not shoved around the opposition's defensive line like they want, or let me take that back, like I want, like they should. They need to do that tomorrow, and really go out and kind of show, hey, we have a chance. I'm not, again, let me repeat this. I'm not going, if they run for 200 yards, 250 yards, I'm not going to come on here on Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday and proclaim, yeah, well, look out, ground and pound is here. This is the new thing. But at least I can come into next week going, all right, that was better. That was a step forward. Maybe this is going to be an offensive line capable of moving people around.
For instance, Colorado's going to their staff meeting and they don't know whether they've answered their questions at offensive line. Doris Sanders got hit a lot like yesterday. They were not able to run the ball effectively. And so they won, yes, but they won because they have 2 first-round draft picks.
Right.
I don't
And
know.
they might have the number 1 pick in Travis Hunter,
Correct.
who caught 3 touchdowns.
Yes. So I don't know if you're a Colorado fan, if you come out of that game, yes, you're happy that you won, but you expect to. But I don't know if you answered any pressing questions.
We're so big here. I don't think this will happen. He goes over 500 total yards of offense, 300 passing, 200 rushing. I see it being more of a running game. I just see that being.
That though.
Listen, I'm not gonna.
You said 3 and 2.
3 and 2. It's a Gamecock Larry-esque prediction right there.
Mm-hmm.
Ray goes, I want the game to never feel in doubt. By the way, Ray from yesterday going Gamecock since '94 offense.
Now that's tough to quantify, but I understand what he's saying because even when we were looking at the Eastern Illinois game, and I think the final score was 45-0 or something.
Yeah, 46-0.
It never felt like that. It never felt like we were beating them that bad. And so I get how you can't really quantify that, Ray, but that makes sense.
If you go back to that Eastern Illinois game, the reason you say that, there was a long run late. There was a Jordan Birch interception that said, yeah, you're exactly right. It wasn't like some things happened that were explosive. I think there was some faked. I want to say we faked a punt early that led to.
I don't feel great.
So yeah, we'll continue. We'll continue talking about that here as we roll along. Look at some other games for the weekend. Get a little Shane Beamer information and go back to that Colorado North Dakota State game as we are live. Darlington Raceway. Bill Gunner, Preston Thorne, Jen Jensen.
I could not hear that music at all.
I heard it just well enough.
Okay.
I didn't have it timed out. I got it.
Preston here, let me tell you about our friends at Integrated Media. So listen, we've been telling you all year, we counted down from 130 days, and now you're 1 day away from game day. It doesn't mean it's too late, but you need to get ready. So get your outdoor setup ready. Football season is here. What do you need to get? You can get Samsung Terrace TVs that are waterproof. You can get Sonos outdoor speakers for TV and music. You can get Wi-Fi that works indoors and outdoors, so you can have your TV set outside. You can have your laptop set up. You can have your phone, your iPad, all your devices. And most importantly, if you have all of those devices, you can control all of them from just one remote. So get the folks at Integrated Media to help you out. So from home theater setup to adjusting your thermostat or monitoring your security systems from your cell phone, Integrated Media is the company that you need to call. Call 803-948-8327. That's 803-948-8327.
No, if you could. Outstanding.
Awesome.
Thank you. Yeah. Every once in a while. It's not always, but
We are, as Jen will tell you, we are the show that makes our producer work, Dave. This is not that. It's not those other shows you be doing. We put our people to work.
yeah. I love the honesty.
Yeah. Well, there went Dave. This will be our final show with Dave. Had to get up early. Now has to work. Yeah, it's no fun. All right, I'm gonna mute us down for a minute. I'm gonna mute y'all too for a second. We're gonna have a private conversation about all of y'all. Don't want you to hear it. I want you to continue to stay online. Discuss amongst yourselves. The War of 1812, was it really a war? There you go. Discuss that. That was Shane Beamer last night. Carolina calls. Carolina calls means you can call. The coach will speak to you. He'll take your phone call. Might even take your criticism a little bit. Unlike some coaches in the state, he's not afraid of his South Carolina fans. He's willing to debate with them and discuss. Other coaches, they don't want your phone calls. They want to just read the text messages that make them sound good. Preston Thorne. But last night, Carolina calls, that was Shane Beamer talking about game prep. And it is, I get what he is saying something that maybe we don't think about. August is a long month. You start banging on each other. It's cool for like a week. You're excited. It's back to school time. And then you're like, man, I don't want to hit that guy again. And man, it's hot. And can't coach just let up and have an ice cream or a watermelon day?
And also, they know our plays. They're cheating. This is not working because Preston Thorne knows the signals and he's scooting over an inch or two. He knows that bingo means it's on two, so he never jumps off sides. So yes, you got to play somebody else a pitcher.
And South Carolina will do that tomorrow. Obviously, a 21-point favorite is what the line is at. We had our good buddy on Brian Edwards from Vegas Insider yesterday. Brian's very serious about his job. He does not give a pick if he does not have an opinion on it, and he said no opinion on this particular game. But it's an interesting one from the standpoint. What do you want to see? That's what we're asking you this morning. You can, by the way, start weighing in, start sending in your predictions as well on this game. I'll give mine here in just a second on the score. But what do you want to see from South Carolina besides a win that makes you happy? And a couple of y'all are weighing in on that. Texter weighs in, says, I would love to see third down conversions over 50%.
It's a high number, but that's a solid mark. If we're getting third downs, that means we're prolonging drives. That means we're moving the ball. It means the offense is moving efficiently. I'll take that.
Corridor weighs in and goes with just a whole bunch of things. I would like to see a run game, a clean pocket, one wide receiver step up, pressure on their quarterback and stop the run.
It's a laundry list. That sounds like my daughter's birthday list, which is increasingly growing. I'll tell you, baby, can't have it all, but I'll just tell her, put it on the list.
Austin, not my son, but Austin texting in 803-404-6100. This is a good one. Nick Harbor looking like he does on Xbox.
Well, when you say looking, do you mean as in just looks physically? Because we know he's going to fill out a uniform. He's going to look pretty. Or do you mean performing the way he does on Xbox?
Well, let's go back yesterday. Scott Jackson with the Old Dominion Radio Network. What was it? He said that Grant Wilson, I think he thought Grant Wilson, quarterback for Old Dominion, faster than he's given credit for on Old Dominion, to which we pointed out, if we're going by what's happening on EA Sports College Football 25, you don't have to worry quite as much about Nick Harbor. We think. Who knows? We'll find out tomorrow. But yeah, if we're basing our skill sets on what's going on in EA Sports College Football 25, maybe be a little less, maybe be that concerned with Nick Harbor and leave some other guys open.
It's amazing how many folks around the country are going to be like, man, South Carolina's got a guy.
Oh, listen, there's going to be people nationally on late Saturday afternoon or Sundays going to be like, Beamer doesn't know what he's doing. Have you seen Lenore Sellers on EA Sports College 25 and they don't utilize this guy? So yeah, it'll be good. But if you,
I like what's on Twitter. By the way, don't sleep on Lenore Sellers' specs. Is that a great camp? I can't wait to watch the next spring.
That's the other thing that's going to be a phenomenon, because this guy is going to blow up and people around the country will be like, the dude with sports goggles?
Right.
He just torched us for $350? What?
that's right.
It's gonna be a national.
You know what? Let's just go ahead and put it out there. Go ahead and start prepping that Heisman to wear goggles. I want to see the new Heisman with goggles on it. You got a year. I'll give you a year to get it right.
We can have a giveaway in the stadium and everybody can be
wearing their
specs, right?
Oh, that's coming.
Let's
Yeah, you can see that coming.
Let's do it.
Kenny weighs in. I'd love to be able to see the Gamecocks go up big and be able to relax and watch the game without my blood pressure going through the roof.
We're gonna put your monitors on. I need you to take your blood pressure at the beginning of the game and take it throughout the game and send it in for us.
803-40.
Yeah, they do that. Like NASCAR drivers and stuff like that, where they'll monitor their heart rates and stuff like that. So that actually could be fun, is to do that with fans.
Do your heart rate monitors.
You can maybe compare it to like Shane Beamer. Like how does his elevate as much as the fans, or is he a little more chill?
Yeah.
Travis on our live stream says, I want to see the defense flying around and controlling the line of scrimmage as well. So, yeah, a lot of stuff there as we kind of get set now for some predictions. And I'm ready to go ahead and make mine. I've got mine lined up here. Bobby weighs in and goes Gamecocks 55, ODU 6. That's going to be a little extreme. I don't think this is going to be the game everybody wants in terms of blowing someone out and it looking all fancy. Again, I'm going in. Bill Gunner, me going in with the mindset it's going to be ground and pound. I think it's going to be kind of vanilla. Like if you're wanting Lenore Sellers, maybe he does get an 80-yard run. Maybe they do have a long touchdown, like a 60-yard touchdown pass. But I think it's going to be very vanilla. I think it's almost like a mindset. I guess there's a difference between what I expect and what I hope. I hope, and I'm kind of expecting this, that it's a mindset game where South Carolina comes out and says, we're going to dominate the line of scrimmage. We're going to run the football. And then that leads to long drives, chewing up the clock. I'm going 27-13. So I don't have them covered the spread. Maybe Old Dominion scores a touchdown late that takes it from a cover of 20. It would have been 27-6. So that'd be right there to push. Or maybe South Carolina's got the ball late. They put in some backups and they don't go down and get a touchdown. I'm going 27-13 with my prediction. I don't think it's going to be a firework exciting game. I do think it's going to be a game where South Carolina utilizes what now went from a very tiny room of running backs, Preston Thorne, that included a quarterback that we would learn runs a 4.95 and didn't terrify anybody with his legs, to a deep running back room with two quarterbacks that can hurt you with their legs.
Yeah, that makes a big difference. You just clarified what I'm trying to ask in this question. Everybody listening expects a win, but what do you hope to see?
Right.
You just clarified that. Everybody expects a win, but what do you hope to see in the pursuit of that win? That was clarifying. That's what I was trying to get to. So yes, and we all expect to win. Should be no doubt about that. But what do you hope? What do you hope to see in the midst of us winning this game?
803-404-6100. Continue to send those in. Our Alabama buddy makes a good point. Heisman Trophy winner this year doesn't need goggles. He goes with a different quarterback. I agree with him. Carson Beck for Georgia, Todd. Roll Tide, Todd. Carson Beck will be the placeholder for Lenore Sillers.
Is that Jalen DeBoer or Jaden Miller? What is for you to say?
Jalen DeBoer or Kalen Milrow. Yeah. Anyway, 803-404-6100. I understand we have a phone call, a caller on the line. Let's get out to the phone lines. Caller, I apologize. I did not hear Dave give me a name. Zach, you were up. Zach, how are you doing this morning? Jack. Yes. $34-13. All right. Gamecock Jack, I appreciate the phone call. I think you echo what a lot of people want to see tomorrow in some way, shape, or form. Whether it's not giving up sacks, Preston, whether it is running the football, whether it is just physically dominating, whatever it is. I think a lot of people say, "Hey, it's the offensive line." I just don't want to see them looking like speed bumps or turnstiles or getting pancaked by the defensive lineman, because that's a bad look.
Yeah, you don't want to see, and also you probably don't want to see a lot of confusion on the offensive line either. You know, pointing, looking. You really don't ever want to see your offensive line helping the quarterback up.
Yeah,
that's always a weird situation. It's like, I guess I have to help you up now because I let you get pumped.
There you go. Let's get back out to the phone lines. Gamecock. So that was Gamecock Jack. Now we got Gamecock Larry. Larry, how you doing this morning? Okay. All right. There you go. All right. 41-17 from Gamecock Larry as we roll along this morning. 803-404-6100. Let's get in one more from the phone lines. Ray wants to weigh in this morning. Ray, got about 3 minutes. How you doing? Doing great. You know what, I'll give them this. If they come out, Preston, and to Ray's point, and Ray, thank you for the phone call. If you want to go play action, if you want to throw a deep one, like on the first play, you want to get everybody involved. You want to go Spurrier-esque and throw it deep. Sellers get sacked. I feel like we're off to a bad start. Like, don't let him. That's why I'm saying, come out and run it 3 times. Show me what that offensive line can do. Line up. Let me see Rocket Sanders and show me what they can do.
That's the thrill of the first game, because everybody's gonna be so keyed up and ready to go. And then, as could happen in football, it might be 2nd and 8, and then there's gonna be somebody in the stands saying, "Oh, here we go again," or something along those lines.
I do agree. Who was it we had this week? Was it Perry Worth? First play needs to be a quarter. Let him get hit. Needs to be a quarterback run. Let Sellers get popped one time. It might even get popped because he's the one doing the popping. 6'4", 6'5", 240, 245. Let him get hit one time and then get him going from there, right?
That sounds. I like that. I like that idea as a game plan.
803-404-6100 as we look out over beautiful Darlington Raceway. The sun is rising, and we've got some NASCAR fan situations occurring as some guys are waking up now and walking out to their grills shirtless to get the grills going for the Blackstones for the bacon, eggs, the biscuits this morning.
Only one of those things is hot. That would be the grills. Just saying. I'm here all weekend.
We'll take a break. Take a break and we'll come back. We'll do more radio from Darlington, turn 3, where the sun is rising up over beautiful Darlington Raceway. There's Bill Gunner, there's Preston Thorne, and there is observational Jen Jensen this morning. It's the early game. Bill Gunner for Dr. Dan Balknight and the Men's Clinic, located off of St. Andrews Road in Irmo. Guys, as we get a little bit older, our health starts to change a little bit. And you know what? If you're ignoring some easy symptoms right now, some mild symptoms like not recovering fast enough from a workout, losing hair, and you don't think that should be taking place, maybe you've got a few other issues that are not being resolved right now and you're a little concerned about it, it's time to speak at a comfortable location such as the Men's Clinic, where they know there's nothing generic about you, so why settle for general medical care? Go call Dr. Dan Balknight today. With over 20 years of experience in the medical field, Dr. Dan Balknight understands that all men deserve to live their best life, and achieving optimal health and wellness requires treating each patient individually. So call Dr. Dan Balknight, line up an appointment today, 803-875-MENS, and visit him on the web for more information at themensclinicsc.com.
Turn the volume down on the headphones.
Which one is it? Well, so your local is jacked up.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's better.
And that's from Dave.
I was trying to make it where, okay, yours would be closest to you.
Yeah, I got the yellow.
But yeah, it's
Preston's actually that one.
headphones were just a little. Sorry about that. Maybe done. They kind of want to get them done. They're like, what's for breakfast? Let's see how many more times I can talk today. Great.
Now, would they start coming in yesterday, or they came in
I actually think they could start coming in on like Wednesday.
Wednesday?
Yeah. They had a 5K here yesterday.
Around the track?
Well, it starts in the track, I guess, and then it goes. On Wednesday, they did that track laps for charity thing where you drive your car. It is kind of fun to do. So yeah, whenever you're interested in doing the trivia thing for tickets.
Oh, trivia. Do you want to tell Dave that you want to do that now?
Oh, that's right. There's Sanders there.
Yeah, if you want to talk
Or
to him.
another Kelly's on. So. Hey Dave, we're probably going to do a trivia contest. In the don't tell anybody.
Oh, I gotta mute y'all. I gotta mute you. Hold on. We gotta mute the. Okay. We came up with a plan to make sure y'all didn't hear the answer.
Jeannie. Uh-huh. That's right. They can hear us like in the studio. They just can't hear like audio clips and stuff. Yeah, they sent that in the first with the correct answer gets. It's fair tickets to the Southern 500. So Sunday's race.
I saw this guy down here. I mean, that's his son, I think. Like, wandering around. I wasn't sure he wasn't just wandering around in his boxers. Like, I think he's on the ground right there. See something moving around. And then there was another guy walking shirtless up the road. I was like, okay, here we go. This is everything I've seen in movies. Oh, there he is. Oh yeah, he's got the nice big old left arm tat. The nice beer gut going. Oh yeah.
But
I'm only doing it on the live stream. Get up, get going. Preston Thorne, Jen Jensen, Bill Gunner live from Darlington Raceway, where we're starting to get some movement out there. Jen, is your favorite moment when the haulers come in? Is that?
it's pretty fun. There's just something about it to watch them.
That's part of it. It's part of the event. It's part of the attraction. I mean, you're right. It's a neat. I mean,
It's like they're here. Yeah.
It is. It kind of signifies, hey, we're gonna do some racing this weekend.
Yeah. And more haulers will be coming in. Like tonight, they actually have the hauler parade tonight. But at least like the initial ones for the Xfinity series and the truck series, they'll be coming in, today. So yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Speaking of the Xfinity series, we got one more pair of tickets for tomorrow, 3:30, and Jen Jensen, who is just.
No, we have tickets to the Southern.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was not listening to you. I was too busy making my own observations about what's taking place out here in the infield, which was
you were not being very kind to people out there.
Not safe for radio observations, but nonetheless. So we have tickets for Sunday for the Darlington Southern 500 for Southern 500, and on top to get you those tickets, we'll take the first caller, but you got to answer Jen's trivia question. So you're going to call Captain Dave. Captain Dave is back in studio. He's holding down the fort. We're making him work this morning. We made him get up early. We're making him work. We're asking him all kinds of things he's got to do here because we're the show that makes our producers work. So Jen has got a trivia question. So as soon as you hear this trivia question, you're going to call Captain Dave with the answer. And if you get the answer, if you're the first person to be answered, you're the first person to answer the trivia question correctly, you will be going to Darlington, or coming down here, on Sunday. So Jennifer, take it away. What is our trivia question of the day?
All right. So a driver has been quoted with saying the following about the Southern 500, and that is, you never forget your first love, whether it's a high school sweetheart, a faithful old hunting dog, or a fickle racetrack in South Carolina with a contrary disposition. If you happen to be a race car driver, there's no victory so sweet, so memorable as whipping Darlington Raceway. What driver said that quote?
Okay, there you go.
I thought it was a very sweet one.
What? I tell you what, can you make it a little bit easier? Can you put it in a time frame? 60 to 70s, 70s to 80s, or does that make it too easy?
I think probably somebody would just know. It would. I will say that I think they'll get it. I really do. If we have trouble, we'll narrow it down.
Okay. All right. 803-404-6100. Call in. Tell us who had that quote and you will be down here in Darlington hanging out and enjoying the race on Sunday afternoon. 803-404-6100. Again, how you can do that. So, Preston, all right, we talked about the offensive line. Let's get to a big question here. It's year 4 for Shane Beamer. There's been 2 years now where Shane has overachieved. Overachieved. I think that's fair. 7-6 the first year. Started 4 quarterbacks. That roster was an interesting, a wild situation. They cobbled it together. They had a late season surge again, beat Auburn in a thriller at Williams-Brice Stadium, beat Florida in an unexpected bashing of Florida. Obviously didn't go well against Clemson, but then go to the Mayo Bowl, the Duke's Mayo Bowl, and thump North Carolina. Unexpected for a lot of people in year 1, 7-6. Year 2, it's up, it's down, it's up. You finally get that win against Kentucky. You get that win against Texas A&M. You get smashed by Florida in the swamp in one of the ugliest games that I can remember. And then you roll back, you come back, and you get bowl eligible by knocking off, I think that was bowl eligible. I think it might have been bowl eligible prior to the Florida game. I can't quite remember. But you knock off Tennessee. You pick up that elusive win against Clemson. People are feeling great. You go play a really exciting bowl game. You don't quite pull it out. Year 2, unbelievable. Year 3, unacceptable. I think that's fair. I think it's fair. Not what you want. Now it's year 4.
Yeah, and as I've stated, I think I've changed sort of my expectations for the team as I've looked at the roster, look at how many veterans are. Shane said it in the game prep. These guys are mature. They don't get in trouble off the field. They've done everything. And all that translates to me is they should be putting a very productive product on the field. How many wins does that turn into? I don't know. But I don't expect to come in here on Mondays and talk about, oh, we had this many penalties or they didn't get lined up right. If we get beat, we might just get beat. That's fine. But the expectation for me is to put a clean product on the field week in and week out because it's Shane's 4th year. He's experienced now. So he can't use any of those. We can't use those that he's always a young coach. No, it's his 4th year. He's been around the block for a while now. And also he has a mature group of athletes that he's working with.
Every year is a big year. In college football, your fortunes can turn on a dime. Look at what happens down at LSU. Les Miles, Ed Orgeron win championships, and I think within like 3 or 4 years later, they're gone. They're out. People have had enough. Mel Tucker wins 10 games. They give him $96 million, and all of a sudden they're looking for a great reason to fire him. Fortunes in that industry change on a dime. So every year is a big year, but there is a sense that South Carolina not only has to go to a bowl, but I think secure a big win somewhere along the line that shows this program as having momentum moving forward.
They got chances early in the season. Obviously, we want to take care of business against ODU, but Kentucky's right after that, which nationwide might not be a big thing, but that'd be a step forward. And then LSU coming to town, that would be a marquee victory. So there are several chances early in the year to make those impressions.
From a recruiting standpoint, you do have 3 massive opportunities because you're not going to probably pick up a 2025 recruit because of what happens this year. It could happen. It's not unheard of. But what you're setting the table for is the current juniors in high school. You get them on campus. Preston, I don't know if you remember the first time you made a visit to the University of South Carolina, and again, that dump you had to play, and it didn't have any paint. It didn't have nice luge seating. It didn't have club levels underneath the end zones. It didn't even have a club where you next to where you ran out. I don't even think they used fire to celebrate when you guys ran out in 2001. I think, matter of fact, Lou Holtz didn't get on the monitor and tell us I can't do his impersonation like Courtney Levitt does. But Lou Holtz didn't tell us it was time for Carolina football. We had to just wait patiently for the kickoff. Such a different environment, such a different stadium. You're going to get that LSU game where you're going to have recruits in town. Again, 2025 is good. 2026 is what you're driving for. Mississippi is going to be a late afternoon night game, and Texas A&M is going to be a night game. Those are 3 monstrous chances for you to get recruits on, show what South Carolina football is all about. And I think you got to – it's going to sound crazy. You definitely got to win 1. Maybe you need to take 2.
That wouldn't be out of. It's not out of the realm of possibility.
Yes.
It's not out of the realm of possibility. That's not dreaming. That's not wishful thinking. That is a possibility. And again, LSU's figuring things out. They got a big game this weekend.
New defensive coordinator.
Who knows?
Comes over from Missouri, blitzes a lot. I was watching them talk about LSU,
Okay.
Missouri. I wrote that down to come back to. We'll watch LSU plays Southern Cal Sunday night, and then they got Nichols. I don't know if it's Nichols or Nichols State still, but they got them in game 2, and then they come to Columbia. But the Missouri defensive coordinator, who has kind of had South Carolina's number, comes over now, and he likes to blitz, and that's something to remember for that game.
Yeah, I guess all I'm saying is that at this point in the Shane Beamer era, it's been more ups than downs, I would say. It's been satisfying on a lot of levels. Last year was not left a lot to be desired, but it's been a good ride so far. But I think this is the point where we as fans, we as people who support the program, should start expecting to win some of these games, the LSU's, Oklahoma, some of these bigger marquee games. We should be expecting to win these games.
South Carolina's got some opportunities with home games. Obviously, that October stretch with trips to Alabama and Oklahoma are big. I'll give you a little game-by-game breakdown. We've had Brad Crawford's. I've offered my prediction. I'll get back to some of y'all's as well, but we'll get into a little game-by-game prediction. Also, go back and revisit last night, Colorado and North Dakota State. Got a little bit of an admission to make as it comes to Colorado and what I was kind of hoping for last night. I'll just tell you it didn't happen. So we'll get into that a little bit as well. A little game by game breakdown. As again, we are live from Darlington Raceway. Joey Logano will join us here later on in the program, and Josh Harris will join us as well. Darlington Raceway president. So we got a lot to do here. So we try to keep Jen from going down and stealing a pace car again. It was an embarrassing experience. She did it last time, and then drove fast around the track. Yeah, we're holding her. We've locked the door. We're keeping her in right now. You're listening to the early game. Bill Gunner for Zerorez Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning. NASCAR is here. College football is here. If you're watching the PGA Tour, the Tour Championship is here. Let me tell you, it is not the time to be cleaning your home. You need to let the cleaning pros with Zerorez come and handle your home, make it look sparkling with their patented ZR water technology that is scientifically proven to keep the carpet, rugs, tile, upholstery all insanely clean. Right now, you can take advantage of an incredible deal. Give them a phone call, 803-262-4020. Mention me, Bill Gunner at 1075 The Game, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned plus a free hallway. Just $129. That's right. Mention me, Bill Gunner at 1075 The Game, when you give Zerorez a call, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned plus a free hallway for just $129. That's 803-262-4020 or book online, ZerorezColumbia.com. Zerorez, spell it backwards, reports. It's the right way to clean.
Justin who?
Okay.
Oh, nice.
So we'll come back. Eckert, like ECKHART? Eckert. Okay. Well, Jen will let you do that and give us our answer.
Justin. Really? Oh my word.
What do you think?
It was sort of eloquent, so I thought it might throw him off a little bit, but I could see that. I figured they'd probably go a little old school with saying something about, a faithful old hunting dog.
Oh, what? Are y'all listening to him?
How bizarre. What about the traffic in the mornings?
It's 10,000.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yesterday was terrible.
Hey, morning producing is not for the faint of heart. You got traffic. We're calling for cuts or taking winners for treated.
Yep. That was a different type of herding cats. They were fun.
Very few facilities I go to where I can stand flat-footed, reach up and touch the ceiling.
That is a big.
I mean, I know we're on a little bit of a platform, but
Yes.
Preston, what do you think about Burger King breakfast?
I get a French toast stick.
I'm actually thinking of. I didn't see a Bojangles anywhere around, so I'm thinking that.
I think it is. If you head and veer off to the right, if you go straight, there's more stuff that way.
I was thinking of stuff that's directly in our line of driving.
And in that situation.
High school Bojangles. That was the breakfast that I would go to.
Really?
Oh my goodness, the croissant. Then I grew up a little bit, realized now that's a sign of getting older. Where now I've kind of moved Hardee's with going with all the olds.
Hardee's is alright.
Hardee's is kind of
I just don't go. There's no one really close. But
I'll drive past the Bojangles on 378. I'll do almost back out where Hardee's is going out toward the high school.
Hardee's has a solid distance.
I think what's really great Hardee's ahead of Bojangles is I like the hash browns, like a little tiny as opposed to the big.
But the flavor on the Bojangles ones is pretty darn good. Just I'm not a big onion fan, but they're just enough like if an onion eats something.
The risk you run with the bow rounds is if you get someone in there a little aggressive with the, or I should say a little soft, they'll be undercooked and greasy.
Now you're talking expertise right there.
Well, I guess we could say congratulations, Justin Eckert, going to 7,500. So we look forward to seeing you out here with 1,000 other people who are going to be in the race on Sunday. Should be a good time. Weather's going to be great. Loving that. So congratulations. He won the trivia contest, and the answer was Dale Earnhardt. I thought maybe the part where he talks about a faithful old hunting dog or a fickle racetrack, I just thought maybe that might give it away a little bit. I figured people would know it was more old school, and from what Dave was saying, there were some Kyle Petty guesses and some Kelly Yarborough guesses. So,
a couple on the live stream.
Yep. So Dale Earnhardt. I figured that was kind of appropriate as we sit next to the Earnhardt Tower.
That's true. I will admit, I didn't think. I don't. I'm not going to sit here and pretend I know a lot about Dale Earnhardt. The faithful hunting dog though doesn't seem to fit the Intimidator. That one. I was thinking more of a country boy, and Earnhardt's not considered. I mean, he's from Eastern North Carolina. Am I right on that? Is Earnhardt from Eastern North? Okay, I'll check into that. But I want to say because we could get Ray Tanner's opinion on Eastern North Carolina guys, and I remember having a discussion with him. They are a different breed, as Ray Tanner has pointed out before. Kannapolis, yeah, Kannapolis. I say, yeah, Kannapolis. Like I know for sure that's in Eastern North Carolina. Like I gotta.
Charlotte outskirts.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Is it Cabarrus County? I don't know how you pronounce it. As soon as I saw that name, it's like, oh, okay, that's not the Charlotte.
Bill Gunner, Preston Thorne, Jen Jensen, showing you the geography lesson of the morning for the early game here as we are live from Darlington. People getting up and getting ready to go this morning. Josh Harris will join us coming up here in just a little while to give our Corley Pool Solutions Checkered Flag Challenge picks where things have turned. Things have turned on us. Excuse me. Let me rephrase that. Things have turned on me drastically. I went from being right there catching Reggie to now 11 points behind. Reggie has built a little bit of a lead. 90 points for Reggie.
And look at Preston surging.
Preston has risen the depth chart here and gotten himself to second with 83 points. Josh is at 80. I am at 79. I say that I'm falling apart. Jen was right there competing too, and Jen has had a rough 4 weeks in a row where she's only collected 7 points and has fallen into last place.
When I have big people like Hamlin and Larson and Logano, and they have all finished poorly, so I've gotten like a point or two. But people who really, but they've just either been taken out, so there's just been a string of bad luck for me. So sorry.
And I'd also like to suggest that I'm minus 2 points for that travesty that happened a couple weeks
Still
ago.
not pleased about that, huh?
I'm just not saying, but I'm just saying.
Okay. All right. Should also be noted, my this lack of run from me has come mainly because Denny Hamlin has let me down with my last several picks, going like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The last 8 picks, I've taken Hamlin 3 times, and twice he has finished 30th or worse, and once he finished 24th. So the guy who took me to my championship is taking me the opposite direction. If I see him around here today, give him a piece of my mind. 803-404. 803-404-6100. Again, Joe Logano also set to join us here coming up in the 8 o'clock hour as well. Preston, we talk about a big year, but every year is a big year for Shane Beamer. But you look at this year in particular. Do you want to join in? I'm catching you off guard. I've not discussed. Do you want to join in some predictions here, or do you like to reserve your future Swami-esque thoughts?
I'm gonna reserve predictions for the first week just because I haven't seen them. I will make predictions every week moving forward, but I need to, as the old folks say, I need to lay eyes on them for 4 quarters and before I can really start to formulate thoughts. So I'm gonna lay off a prediction. I do have some maybe predictions about how the game might go, but not scores yet.
All right, write me down here. Write me down. I'm going to give you a 12-game prediction here. Thank you, Chad Jones. Saw him last night. Brother of Brett Jones, Chad, a good friend. Saw him last night at the Hootie concert, and he told me I needed to give a game-by-game prediction. And why not? Hold me accountable. If we can constantly forget the Gamecock Larry predicts 12-0 until they lose, why can I not make predictions and be held non-accountable? So let's make a couple here real quick. Number one, I'm picking Saturday against I'm picking tomorrow 27-13. 3 touchdowns, 2 field goals. Let me ask you this. I don't think I've asked you this. Could be wrong. I think I brought this up with Jay Phillips on our cocktail hour show. South Carolina's got the ball 4th and 3 at the 30. They're up 21-6. Okay, you're up 15. Alex Herrera has made 4 field goals in his lifetime. You're at the 30. Do you let him kick a field goal so you see what he looks like in front of what you hope is a packed house in kind of a pressure situation, or do you go for it 4th and 3 and try and put the game away?
47-yarder.
Yeah, exactly. You got to
47-yarder, 4th and 3. You said
4th and 3.
21-6 is the score.
21-6.
I'm gonna let him kick.
That's my point. I do think tomorrow. This is part of the reason I'm going 27. I think you give Alex Herrera an opportunity. Maybe normally you would go for it in that situation, but I think you don't get those live scrimmage games that Coach Beamer's talked about. So I'm going 2 field goals tomorrow for the Gamecocks. One of them maybe fans will boo because they think that Shane should go for it and pick something up. And then ODU gets a touchdown and 2 field goals as well, 27-13. So 1-0. Gamecocks go up to Kentucky next weekend. This one is difficult for me. Now, our good buddy Brad Crawford has gone with South Carolina, losing to Kentucky and beating LSU. I'm going to flip-flop that. I think the Gamecocks get Kentucky this year. I just think South Carolina is equipped to handle this game. I like the Gamecock defense a little bit better, especially against Brock Vandergriff and a new offensive coordinator. Brock Vandergriff's not an overly mobile guy like Lenore Sellers is. I'll take the Gamecocks to get off to a 2-0 start and pick up a victory in Lexington, but I have them losing. Listening a little bit more to LSU, there are athletes there. and they're going to turn those athletes loose on defense. And I really do not like a blitzing team against a redshirt freshman quarterback in week 3. I think it's a great game here in Columbia. I think LSU sneaks out with a victory. They've got the guy who's a little more experienced at quarterback. They got the better athletes. South Carolina's got a guy who I think is going to be a great quarterback, but needs experience. I think that hurts South Carolina, maybe a turnover late, 2-1. South Carolina also beats Akron to get to 3-1 at September, halfway to bowl eligibility by the end of September. I like that. I like that. A lot of people have circled the Ole Miss game as one that South Carolina could potentially pull an upset. Ole Miss should be undefeated when they roll into Columbia. That'll probably be a night game. I just think Ole Miss wins that game. Too many weapons. South Carolina falls to 3-2 on the season after Mississippi beats them at home on October the 5th. Alabama on the road, noon game. There's still a whole lot of good players. And let me remind everybody when I go down an Alabama rant, I even thought last year that Kalen DeBoer was the best coach in the country.
You've been on this train for sure. You've been selling tickets to this show for a long time.
I don't think that changes at all. I think South Carolina falls to 3-3 after a loss to Alabama. Here's my first really big upset of the year. I think South Carolina goes to Oklahoma and wins. Oklahoma is coming off of the Red River rivalry game. I got South Carolina winning that game out in Oklahoma. I don't know what Oklahoma is, Preston Thorne. I got no idea what they are, and I don't know if anybody knows exactly what Oklahoma is. But I think coming off of that Red River rivalry game, it's supposed to be an early game. I think it's going to be a sleepy fan base, especially if Texas bludgeons Oklahoma in Dallas. Give me Gamecocks to win that one to get to 4-3. Bye week, then I'll tell you about November when we come back. And the Gamecocks get bowl eligible with Texas A&M, Vanderbilt, Wofford, Missouri, and Clemson. I'll give you my pick on that and get your opinion and see what you think about my early on predictions here as we roll along. You're listening to Preston Thorne, Jen Jensen, Bill Gunner. It is the early game. All right. Bill Gunner for Mid-State Roofing, where for nearly 30 years, Larry Leitner and the family have been the leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. And it's that kind of history that is your proven assurance that they will provide the proper service, advice, and results to the needs of your facility. And they're going to do it in a manner both safe and pleasing to you. And they do that 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can give Mid-State Roofing a phone call, and either an on-call technician or a Mid-State Roofing employee will answer your call and help you with a maintenance contract. For more information, check them out on the web, midstateroofing.com, or give them a phone call, 803-356-1919. Again, that's 803-356-1919. Again, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There is someone there to answer your phone call and help you with a maintenance contract. So give Mid-State Roofing a call today. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you. If you've got a leak, let Mid-State Roofing take a peek. Doesn't hurt. It can. I was. I got a clock I'm kind of watching right here, but you can keep doing it. It's not gonna trip. It's not gonna trip me up too much. It helps just to keep an eye on it, but yeah. Well, Jay's a diva. You know, he's got to have his hair just right. Temperature in the studio's got to be perfect. Demands his drinks beforehand.
Green M&Ms only.
I have to work with him on the. Yeah, we're on Jay's time.
Yeah. You doing well? Oh, fun. Wow.
803-404-6100. How you can weigh in. I'm trying to give my season predictions here coming up in the next segment. The top of the next hour, we'll be joined by Josh Harris of Darlington Raceway. We'll make him make some predictions as well. That seems only fair. He's in a position of importance. If he messes up his predictions, he needs to be held accountable.
I think he's from, wasn't he in Alabama? 'Cause I think he was at the track.
Yeah, we'll get to the bottom of that. But no, we'll catch up with him. We'll catch up with him coming up in about 30 minutes. Also make some picks for our Corley Pool Solutions Checkered Flag Challenge. All right, Preston, I've got us. So I've got us. I don't know why I say us as if I'm playing in the games and I'm the one like making plays to get South Carolina
What
to
do you
bowl
mean?
eligibility.
Because it's us. We're here every
All right.
Saturday. Our whole lives depend on us for the next 12 weeks.
All right.
Of course, it's us.
So, all right, thank you. Make me feel better about that. Going into November, I've got the Gamecocks 4-3. Massive upset on the road. Maybe the biggest win of Shane Beamer's tenure because it's on the road as opposed to being at home against Tennessee. Maybe you'd count Clemson with that. I don't know. But going to Oklahoma and beating Oklahoma. And again, reasons for that. Game after the Red River rivalry game for Oklahoma. It's going to be an early start time in Norman, maybe an 11 a.m. kick or noon kick, depending on how that kind of shakes out in Norman. The fan base at that point might be a little down on some things. They've got basically a brand new starting quarterback, brand new offensive line. There's a lot of questions there about the Sooners that I continue to wonder if they're ready for the SEC this year. So I got the Gamecocks winning that one. 4-3. Bye week. Here's your big one. I think I'm going to take South Carolina at home to beat Texas A&M.
Okay.
At home to beat Texas A&M. Gets them to 5-3. 5-3 on the season. They'll beat Vanderbilt on the road. There's 6-3. Bowl eligibility with 3 games to go. And then Missouri comes to town. And I'm telling you what, Eli Drinkowitz has South Carolina's number.
He does.
I don't. The dude does not like. So I don't know what it is. He took shots at South Carolina when he was at Appalachian State and won. I don't know if him and Shane Beamer are quietly good buddies. I don't know what it is. Drinkowitz has. South Carolina loses
I
to
imagine
Missouri
when
again.
Shane is asked about Eli, he'll just say, "I have a lot of respect, Coach."
Yeah, I don't know what.
He's very diplomatic.
You can read into that what you will.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it is about Missouri and I don't know what it is about Drinkowitz, but yeah, I've got him. Yeah, I've got Missouri coming into Williams-Brice on Saturday, November the 16th, and winning. That gets South Carolina to 6-4. They'll beat Wofford to get 7-5. Preston, I've got to see South Carolina beat Clemson more often to pick South Carolina to beat Clemson. I just have to. 7-5. 7-5 is the season. South Carolina loses at Clemson. You get bowl eligible. You go to a decent bowl. I don't know what everybody's going to consider a decent bowl. What'll be interesting, 7-5, how many people opt out that then allow you to play younger players to prepare for the next season? Essentially, your spring game, if you will, now becomes the bowl game. But 7-5 is what I got the Gamecocks at.
All right. That
seem fair? Seem over realistic? Over optimistic?
I don't know. I have no idea until we turn this thing on and see what we're actually working with on Saturday. Because for all the predictions that we made, I think they're probably making a lot of predictions about what Florida State's Euro is going to look like, and they have a chance to start off 0-2 very quickly, and nobody would have predicted that. So, yeah, I can see that maybe we can get a gauge of what they're looking like at the end of this. And this year, I guess more of a question of would I be satisfied with 7-5, and I would be like, I would be fine.
It'd be a step in the right direction. I don't know if you're satisfied, but at least you go, okay, right. Then you go to a bowl, whatever bowl it is, and I think it would be a decent bowl because of the way South Carolina fans travel and everything that takes place. I think maybe you get to go back to Charlotte. You didn't play there this year to start a game. Maybe you go to the Music City Bowl. Who knows? The way these bowl games are going to shake out now, if the SEC has a bunch of teams in the college football play, maybe you get to go. Maybe a 7-5 South Carolina team's going to Tampa to get an interesting matchup with a Big Ten team. Who knows how that works now? But you'd have a chance to win 8 games.
7-5 make us eligible for the Vegas Bowl, sir.
Yes. Okay. If the SEC is in Vegas, I don't think the SEC is eligible for Vegas. I think because Florida was there last year. I think Florida was there last year. So I think that's something to keep an eye on. 803-404-61. A couple people agreed with you earlier. Texter weighed in. Preston, I agree. We should expect to win some of these games. I expect 9 wins this year. The whole being content with content, not contempt. You don't want to be in contempt. You content with 6-win mindset is getting old. Everything we put in the program, you're either football school or you're not. No fakes. Again, I think it's a thing that's working your way up. And then this is something you said earlier about winning games. Got to win some of these. Another text weighs in. Thank you for saying that for us, Preston. Time to get back.
It's good, man. Like I said, there's been more ups and downs in the Shane Beamer era. It's been a good ride. It's been fun being a fan. Unlike the previous era, this has been a fun time. Last year was a step back, a little bit unsatisfied from what we did last year. But everything moving forward, when I look at the roster, when I look at the maturity of the roster, with Shane Beamer bringing in new people and the coaching staff, him having 4 years of experience, it's time for the team and the program and us as a fan base to raise our level of expectation and expect to go in and win some of these marquee games.
So we will get to Josh Harris in the final hour. We'll get to Joey Logano, but we will ask you, send in. We're going to ask you for your 3 predictions, basically, or 2 predictions and what you want to see. Send me your ODU prediction for tomorrow. Send us your ODU prediction. Send us your season record prediction, and send us what you want to see tomorrow outside of a victory that makes you feel happy and content moving forward after tomorrow. I said 200 yards on that. We'll continue down this path. We got a lot to get to, Preston. Sun is up. Looks beautiful here. We are live from Darlington Raceway. You're listening to the early game. Bill Gunner for AAA Heating and Air. You've heard Dave and Jen this week give the forecast. The heat is back. Tomorrow it'll be 92. Today it's 94. That air conditioner of yours better be working properly. And at AAA Heating and Air, they understand that better than anybody. They took care of the Gunner family, me and the kids, just about 19 months ago, made sure that the heating and air unit was working properly, installed a brand new one, and it has made sure we were nice and cool during the summer, nice and warm during the summer. And you can do the same, and you can take advantage of an incredible deal right now. Call AAA Heating and Air and purchase a brand new heating and air unit today. Get no interest and no payments until August of 2025. That's right, no interest and no payments for a full year. Give AAA Heating and Air a call, 803-677-1500. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you. Again, get new comfort in your home tomorrow with a phone call today and take advantage of no interest, no payments for a full year when you purchase a heating and air unit today. This is Bill Gunner for AAA Heating and Air. I want to say you're listening to the early game. I should have just followed on through with it. Like I hit everything I wanted to.
And make sure you get started on there. They've never even mentioned.
You want to?
Morning.
There he is. How are you?
Good. Welcome back. Hi, Dad.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
All right, I'm gonna mute y'all for a second here. when exactly do y'all paint? Like, is it this week? Is it last week to make it look as fresh as possible?
It starts last week, so we will, our year-round track team will do a lot of the solid white and red painting, and then we have a company that comes in and does all the logo painting.
Okay.
So, and then they do the track surface as well. But it started about middle of last week with all the logos and everything, so they look good when we get here, and then they'll be on standby for post race if there's any touch-ups that need to happen after the race.
We're in turn 3, correct?
We're in turn 3.
I don't think I remember these two logos being here. Are those new?
So the Cookout logo has been here, but I think we painted that Goodyear one after the show.
Gotcha.
Earlier in May. As any good marketing branding person, we had Cookout's logo there, and then the Goodyear team was here last year, and we like, that looks good. We'd like one of those. So we take care of our entitlement partners Goodyear in the spring and Cookout here in the fall, and it's just a great way to show off their brand in a highly visible location.
Let me ask this. I think we talked with Kerry Tharp the first year we were here, and what goes into repaving a track like this? Because I know y'all don't do it every year, and I don't know if it's something that you and your staff make a decision on, if NASCAR suggests it, if you take advice, or if you take kind of feedback from drivers. How does that work when y'all decide to repave a track?
Well, it would be a collective decision between NASCAR, the track, some driver, team owner input, but I think the last time we repaved here was around 2008. So this is a pretty lengthy. We try to get as many miles, for lack of a good pun, out of the track as we can. What you'll see though is, as you look out here, you see the little black seams that kind of go around.
Mm-hmm.
That's where each layer of pavement from when it was paved, those seams start to need a little work. And so what you'll see is we go through, and we have a machine that comes in and kind of vacuums it out, creates a nice edge, and we fill that in. So it creates those seams, and it makes the whole pavement last longer. But a driver will tell you they would rather an older surface that wears the tires, which is exactly what we have here, because it creates better racing overall, because those guys have to manage their tires versus a freshly paved track. Sometimes you can just go out there and it's got a lot of grip in it, and it just holds the car to the bottom, where a track like Darlington, they really have to drive it.
Bill, we have a new entry. I know I'm known for football hands, but President Harris is known for NASCAR hands. We just saw him. I saw him filling in the gaps. They're doing a lot of compression. So we have a new entry into the hands. It is NASCAR hands.
Okay, all right.
Everybody talks with their hands. I was doing some TV interviews last week, and I just felt like what do I? It's like Ricky Bobby.
Yeah,
in the movie. It's like, what do I do with my hands?
Well, it looks great. As it was a year ago. This afternoon, I guess technically with the way it moved, but it was a year ago that the official announcement came down. What has been the biggest surprise that maybe you thought you came here and you didn't know you were going to have to deal with, or that you would get to deal with?
Well, I don't know that there's anything been truly surprising. I've been fortunate to work closely in the business with a number of good leaders over the past couple of years at Daytona and then Darlington, and certainly early in my career at Talladega. So I feel like I've been prepared. I think for me, it was just expanding my scope outside of the traditional areas where I've had a lot of focus, which has mostly been on our customer experience, our fan engagement, our event experience, and more kind of the operations of the facility year round, things that you don't always even think about. So when it gets into the wintertime, we shut off a lot of the water around here so we avoid pipes bursting and things like that, like just those kind of things that I've never had as much exposure with. So it's really just digging into that side, understanding how we develop a plan to go from midsummer all the way to today, or really earlier this week, to get everything ready and looking really good when people start to show up. And it's a very structured approach to this week. We're going to do these things on our checklist because we don't have to come back and do them again. It's things like cutting the grass are constant maintenance, but there's a lot of things that happen on a scheduled basis to get us where we are today.
Josh Harris joining us, Darlington Raceway president, as we get ready for the Xfinity Series race tomorrow at 3:30, and then of course the Southern 500 coming up 6 o'clock on Sunday night. You can make sure if you're not down here, you can check that out on USA. And coming up in the next segment, we'll make some picks on that as Mr. Harris trying to make a run and get himself into second place there ahead of Preston. But what have you taken away as we head to now the final race of the regular season? What has been your big takeaway this year from NASCAR as a whole?
Well, I think we've seen another year of compelling racing. There's been obviously some surprise winners, especially recently. You had Austin Dillon win at Richmond, and then that win not be able to count towards the playoffs because of the fashion in which that occurred. But even before that, he was in position to win that race at Richmond before the late race caution. And then you had a guy like Harrison Burton last week, win in Daytona, get the 100th Cup Series win for the Wood brothers. So I think here recently it's been, somewhat of these surprise winners that have popped up. And then as you think about it over the course of the year, it's been a little bit of early season dominance from, Denny Hamlin and William Byron. And those guys, I don't know, maybe they've been taking the middle part of the season just to try different things to get ready for the playoffs because they've been in contention a lot of races. They haven't been up there contending for the win every week like they were in the first third of the season. So I think it's just interesting to see how that works out. And we've got a really compelling playoff battle coming down here to the end with you got Martin Truex, who's probably pretty good on points as long as he doesn't have anything catastrophic early in the race. And then you've got Ty Gibbs. And then there's this group of guys with Chris Buescher and Bubba Wallace. And you've got, who's the other one? Chris Buescher, Bubba Wallace. And anyway, there's a tight battle for the last playoff spot this weekend. And then you've got a regular season battle. So I think it's all going to unfold right out here in front of us on Sunday. And it's been a great season thus far. Looking forward to a great playoff run once they leave here.
How does the positioning of this race at the end of the season affect racing?
Well, I think, the drivers and the teams have gotten accustomed to Daytona being the regular season finale over the past couple of years, and that really being a little bit more of a wild card race. I think everyone comes to Darlington knowing you've got to have speed first and foremost to be in contention, but then you've got to have a really good handling race car. You got to be able to survive for 500 miles. I mean, it's no easy feat to run 500 miles around here, starting off as hot as it's going to be in the car, just the mental toughness that it requires on the driver's side. So I think, you look at those teams that have had speed consistently, especially at our intermediate tracks. So your Gibbs, your Hendrick have been probably the top organizations. But then, Roush Fenway, Brad Keselowski got his win earlier in the year here after a late race crash between Chris Buescher and Tyler Reddick. So I think you're gonna probably look at those teams as your top contenders coming into the weekend. However, what I've thought all along that could potentially play out is if you get some teams that know they've got to win to make the playoffs, if they're able to put themselves in positions through the first 400 miles or so, and that last 100 miles comes down, there's probably 2 to 3 pit stops still left in that last 100 miles. You might see some interesting pit strategy unfold for guys to try to leapfrog to the front of the field and then see if they can hold on. Tires are always at a premium at Darlington, so the only way to get yourself ahead from a pit stop perspective is to maybe take 2 tires instead of 4, advance your position, but then you got to hold on to it, which to me is what could be an interesting thing to unfold on the track late Sunday night.
So let me ask you, Jen. We got Jen back. Security escorted her back. Took the keys away. Welcome back. We don't have a mic for Jen right now. Do you know who your pick is going to be? We're going to do picks in the next segment. Do you know who your pick is going to be?
Yes.
Okay, so if I ask a question and kind of give away who I'm probably going to take, you're not going to steal my pick.
I will not steal your pick. I have it written down right.
Okay. You don't pick in front of me. That's why I'm doing this. Because I think this is fascinating, and I get Jen's opinion on this too. What you just said about strategy. Denny Hamlin's in the playoffs. Do you see a scenario where Denny Hamlin is more focused on getting his teammate, I guess, whatever you want to call Bubba Wallace? I know it is, whatever it is, getting Bubba Wallace into the playoff, maybe more so than winning the race since he's already in, because I think that's interesting what you just said. And I pointed out the last 8 races, well, I'm a Hamlin guy, and Hamlin has let me down. The last 8, 24th, or the last 8, I've taken him 3 times. Those 3 times, 24th, 30th, 38th. Not his best showings. Otherwise, you want to ballpark who I'd be taking this week? Guess who I'm not taking? I like Bubba Wallace because I'm asking you, do you think that Denny Hamlin shows up and was like, man, I'd love to get Bubba Wallace in with me? And I think Reddick's already in as well. If I'm correct on that, he's in. Like, that's a huge thing for 23XI Racing.
I can promise you, he will look to get who he owns.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
No, and he has actually said that in a race before, that he said it's an unpopular decision or a conversation with Gibbs, but he has actually said, like, you know, I'm gonna work on getting my guys in.
Yeah, and I think the difference though is he could have maybe a little bit more impact on that at a track like Daytona where they're drafting and he has a chance. They're running so close together that those two could almost, get front to back and really work together to get to the front. It's a little harder here to do that. However, I think there are other things in the race that could unfold to where Denny may make a decision that's more advantageous to helping his teammate, the car owner, versus putting himself in the best position. With all that said, this is a crown jewel race that everybody wants to win. So that to me is an interesting situation that Denny may have to put himself in. Does he go after another crown jewel win, or does he have to make a decision that sacrifices a win for the betterment of putting, Bubba in the playoffs?
Well, I don't know if there's an age limit like in football or baseball on NASCAR drivers. We've seen some of them race close up to their 50s. Hamlin, however, is 43, and the one thing he doesn't have on his resume is a Cup Series championship. Am I saying that correctly? A Cup, like, he doesn't have it on his resume, and I would think as much as winning here would be great, he would love to get Wallace in, but his focus is on winning the Cup Series. We'll come back. I want to ask you about next year's race schedule coming out. I think we've got it figured out now who I'm taking, which I don't think is who Jen was taking. So we're good on that. So the first 2 people making picks, we've already pretty much got that figured out. We'll get to you and Preston and Reggie here. Reggie's already texted me. I don't know if I'm going to pay any attention to it or I'll just have Reggie text you here. You have his pick? Okay, good. So we've got a lot going here as we are live from Darlington Raceway, getting ready for Sunday afternoon, 6 o'clock. The Southern 500 will be the final race of the regular season. Preston, you ready? You got your pick?
Right.
I think we actually might all this might be the easiest pick 'em we've had so far. We'll find out when we come back. You're listening to Preston Thorne, Jen Jensen, joined by President Josh Harris and Bill Gunner. It is the early game.
Was this our standings? Well, I won't see your picks if you've got it right here. Oh, you got it right here.
Is this Jen here?
It is. I have your copy down at the end. I forgot to grab it.
I remember who Preston took. See, what's crazy is how from week to week, 7th gets 3 points, and then some weeks 7th will get you the win.
Hey, it's Jen for CHW Cabinetry in Lexington. The demolition that we did in our house was a little bit. I guess I need to have my mic turned up just a little bit more here. How's that? Does that work a little bit better? When I'm talking about CHW Cabinetry in Lexington, everything we had done in the kitchen, they were fantastic, and they gave us that realistic rendering that made such a difference when it came to putting the kitchen together and picking out all of the other fixtures and things that we needed to get a completed kitchen. They do a lot of things for kitchens, where if you just need your pantry more functional, you can have that with having some drawers added. Maybe you have a closet that you're tired of the wire hanging racks, you want to change that as well. All kinds of things you can do in creating home office workspaces. CHW Cabinetry is your friend in all of that, and you can find them locally owned in Lexington. Be sure to visit chwcabinetry.com. Call them today at 803-520-6837. Tell them Jen sent you. CHW Cabinetry, passion from inspiration to installation.
Sorry, I had you on I didn't know you grabbed Preston's.
Sorry, I didn't either. I just grabbed because I forgot what time it was. and especially kind of printing for you.
Do y'all broadcast live for all the home games in Columbia?
We will make some picks here in just a minute as Darlington Raceway President Josh Harris joining us here in the press box. Are on turn 3 here, getting ready for a fun weekend, and that's what we were just talking off air. Is there a point? I know I asked you this back in the spring, but is there a point you get to sit down and relax? Just like I don't know if you just go to the top of the stands up there. Just at some point during the race, you talk about fan experience. Go somewhere at the top of the stands, just yourself, and you look out over it, and you take 5-10 minutes to just look at what is built here.
Yeah, so if you look all the way across over in turn 1, that's the Brazington grandstands, and it on the right hand side of that, there's a set of stairs, and at the top there's a platform, basically at the bottom of the seating area, that I can stand right there and see everything around the track. So I like to go up there. Usually green flag starts, I'll come back to the suite, say hello to people, do all the things I need to do there. And then about middle of the race, I'll start to make my way around. Because I like to walk the concourses, just see what's going on. And then I'll make my way over there and I'll just stand and watch for 10 minutes or so. And it's just a cool time to decompress, see what's going on in the race, look around, hopefully see a lot of people having a good time. And it's really just a moment to kind of reflect on all the work that the team's put in and where we've gotten to.
Obviously, year two coming up for you after this weekend, and one of the big changes will be, and get your opinion on it. The spring race will go from Mother's Day weekend in May to the first weekend in April, and we were talking about it when Josh walked in. That's going to set up a wild month. I know Augusta is in Georgia, but a wild month of sports for us in Columbia, here in Darlington and Florence, and then in Augusta and down in Hilton Head, as we will have the the spring race. I don't know how it works with y'all and sponsorships in terms of when you redo that. I'll let you explain
It'll be a
that.
good year 400.
Okay, all right, making sure. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if that's a year to year, like how that works, but you have the Goodyear 400 that'll occur the first weekend in April. Then we'll have the Masters, and then we'll have the Heritage. But your thoughts on moving that race from Mother's Day weekend to the first weekend in April?
Well, I think NASCAR has shown they're not, afraid to switch up the schedule year to year. I think for us, I've always said priorities for me, if I have a wish list, are the Southern 500 weekend to be Labor Day, to have a second race weekend, Cup weekend, and then, we know that if that happens, it's likely going to be in the spring. It's been great being on Mother's Day. It's been a little bit of a tradition here over the years, with races in the spring, but I think one thing we do hear sometimes from our fans is, I don't want to choose between doing something with mom or coming to the racetrack. And there are a lot of mothers out there that will come out here and spend their Mother's Day at the racetrack, but this gives us a chance to not have that conflict. It may be a little bit cooler in early April, so not quite as hot. So I'm excited about the change. I think it's good for us. It also gives us a little bit more time between our two races. So we were just over 100 days between the finishing of Throwback Weekend and the Goodyear 400 in May and the start of this weekend here. So it gives us a little bit more time, a little over a month in between, which I think is good for the market. It's good for our race fans. And so all in all, I'm excited. We'll have a doubleheader weekend with the NASCAR Xfinity Series and the Cup Series, April 5th and 6th. And it'll be the official Throwback Weekend. That tradition will continue. And it'll be our 75th anniversary season. So we'll be celebrating all the history of Darlington next year as we go throughout the year.
Let's make some picks here. Let's make some picks where it is. We're coming down the home stretch. Reggie Anderson is unbelievably in the lead again, and I have to at some point give Reggie credit because he's been picking dead last every week because he's in the lead and somehow maintains the lead. Preston has worked his way into second place, 7 points behind Reggie. Josh, you've had an up and down season. You've had great stretches, and you've kind of fallen off. You're third right now at 80 points. I'm 1 point behind you at 79, and Jen has struggled the last 4 weeks. So, Jen, you lead the way here with the first pick this morning in our Corley Pool Solutions Checkered Flag Challenge.
I would say Tyler Reddick. I'll yell it out.
Tyler Reddick from Jen. Tyler Reddick, and I think again, kind of became obvious. Yeah, sure. I think it became. Or Reddick, poor Reddick.
Yeah.
Please inform him if something goes wrong. If Tyler Reddick wins, can we please have him give a shout out to Jen Jensen in the victor's lane over there? I'm going Bubba Wallace. I feel like I've got Wallace, and in a way I've got Denny Hamlin helping Bubba Wallace. So you see where I was going with that? That's why I can't believe you all didn't pick up on that. Okay, yeah, Bubba Wallace for my pick. To you, Mr. Harris.
Well, I had Reddick at the top of my list, but I'm going to go with defending Cookout Southern 500 champion. I'm going to go with Kyle Larson.
Okay, always a good pick there. And I believe we said no, it's Chastain. Chastain is in the one fighting for a playoff spot. That brings us to Preston Thorne.
That being said, with them fighting for a spot, can't fake desperate. Let's go with Ross Chastain.
That's a good pick, I think. I think Bubba Wallace and Ross Chastain are two strong picks. And that brings us to Reggie Anderson, who for some reason wondered if we called his house on Wednesday at 6 a.m. because we really should do that more often, just for the sake of having Reggie in. I tell you, toss her that mic real quick. Let's go. Where is Reggie going with his pick?
Well, it ended up being his third pick, but he's got your girl.
He's got Denny Hamlin. That means Denny will win.
This is when he's gonna turn.
This is what, yeah. That means the 1 week I shy away from Denny Hamlin. When I really probably would take my go with his.
Because lately, for me, it's been when, hey, Larson is a really solid pick and something has happened. So I'm clearly the kiss of death for him. So I'm not picking him this week. So he should do well.
There's the picks. All right, so Reddick for Jen, Bubba Wallace for myself. You're going with Kyle Larson. Mr. Harris is going with Larson. Preston Thorne going with Ross Chastain, and Reggie Anderson goes with Denny Hamlin, who, of course, why would he finished 38th last week? Why would he not go ahead and win this race and kind of punch Reggie's ticket to a third straight championship? What have you learned from our pick'em this year?
It is difficult week to week. You know, I would almost, I know some different groups do pick 'em show, and you can only pick the same driver once. Now that
Right,
would be
Survivor.
extremely challenging throughout the year, but it just shows the dynamic nature of, you know, you can make a good pick, and a lot of times drivers up until that last like green, white checkered finish have been in a really strong position, and then chaos happens at the end. So it's just part of it, but it makes it fun.
Yeah, you're a little angry and bitter about Mark. Was it Truex Jr.?
Minus 2 points.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
saying.
a few weeks ago, who was petitioning NASCAR himself to get Truex Jr. that victory. We appreciate you having us out. We look forward to being back in the spring for the first weekend. We look forward to seeing what happens here this weekend. And again, thank you for the hospitality. Y'all, a phenomenal facility, and I know Jen loves this. Just got to get better security on those pace cars.
That's right. Glad you made it back up.
Thank you for having us. Look forward to talking to you later on here today. We'll come back. Jen, talked with Joey Logano. We'll let you hear from Jen and Joey Logano when we come back, and we'll start to wrap everything up with final thoughts, predictions, and so forth and so on as we get you ready for football weekend. It is Bill Gunner, Preston Thorne, Jen Jensen, all live from Darlington Raceway down here in Darlington.
Thank you. I hate to run quickly, but I gotta get to another interview.
Good to see you, sir.
Thank you.
Always.
Appreciate y'all coming out and broadcasting.
Thank you.
Good seeing you.
Good luck with football season. I'll
Yeah.
get over there to Columbia at some point, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Please,
you
let us
should.
All right, we'll chat next week.
Thank you, man.
Appreciate it.
Dave, normally I do mid-state in the next. I do mid-state and Ecton in the same break. Did you just move it to 8? Yeah, technically they're supposed to be in the side. Bill Gunner from Mid-State Roofing, where for nearly 30 years they have been the leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. And one of the reasons they've been the leader is because 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, they are there to take your phone call. So if you have a leak, it's time to let Mid-State Roofing take a peek. Give them a phone call, 803-356-1919. You either speak with an on-call technician or a Mid-State Roofing employee that will help put you in a maintenance contract. For more information, you can go online as well, midstateroofing.com. Whether it's a high-rise or a hospital, manufacturing or industrial, Mid-State Roofing designs and installs bonded systems with a protective guarantee that keeps your operation dry and running long into the future. So again, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, Mid-State Roofing is ready to take your phone call and help with a maintenance contract. Don't wait a day longer. 803-356-1919. Give them a phone call. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you. Sometimes, but it's the way it is bought. They're in the network, and that 45 break is a network break that goes out across the state. So yeah, that's why we do it. Normally we do one before the CBS break, so like one basically coming out of the segment, and then Jen's got the minute and 30 CBS break, and then I do another one. But it's cool. We're good. We'll make it work. Yeah, we look forward to that. Get you up early, make you do more work.
We need to pull this sheet back out because Schroeder's has got to get mentioned like every time we crack the mic this hour. Because I don't think you mentioned them. I put it on the sheet.
Yeah, I just
So we basically, as soon as we come back in, mention them and.
Oh, you got it. I think it. Let me.
Because Josh had sent us a text this morning and said, hey, make sure you. They were doing something of a group yesterday when I was here. It's like, you guys coming through?
biggest running NASCAR races that we have. So it's a really special weekend to go there anytime we go there. And the fans enjoy that, the drivers enjoy that old school feel. And it's one of those races that's on the bucket list, right? The Southern 500 is one that's on every driver's bucket list to want to click off. So only get one opportunity a year to get it.
Right, exactly. And going into the playoffs then after that is you still want to win this. I mean, you want to win every race, but you still are really focused on this. It's not like you're dialing it back a little bit because like, okay, I know I'm in the playoffs. This is still a crown
and super speedway racing is very unique that you have to rely on others to help you win, which is just such an odd place to be. But it seems like they all did a good job. I got to watch it on TV, unfortunately, but I was pretty excited to see Harrison make it happen there. The 21 Miller brothers, they're part of Penske's in my eyes.
Is this one of the last questions? Is this about 40 seconds left? Thought we were in easily on this. About 40 seconds left. Some really good stuff there with Jen and Joey Logano. We'll come back. We'll wrap everything up from Darlington. You're listening to the early game.
Nailed it on time. Holy cow.
What?
Nailed it on time.
Yeah, that was.
I say he was great.
He was. He was. What are they doing?
It's off.
Hold on.
Beautifully.
Y'all have a great day. We'll get back into the habit of that.